Welcome to the Sellernomics podcast, where we share valuable tips and information in the Amazon and e-commerce space. Each week, we deliver the best interviews with some of the top Amazon personalities in the industry to help you grow your business. Today's episode is brought to you by Getida, the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements. Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at Getida.com/Sellernomics. And now, here are your hosts, Rob Stanley and Lisa Kinski.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of Sellernomics. My name is Lisa Kinski. I'm joined by my co-host, Rob Stanley. And we have with us today a guest who very graciously and sweetly got up early in the morning to have this conversation. We have with us Elson Zhou with BD Inspection. And we're going to be talking about how product inspections can help Amazon sellers to increase their quality. So let's go ahead and bring him on. Elson, how are you?
Hi, Lisa. How are you? Hi, Rob. Nice to
Hey, Elson. Ni hao.
Nice to meet you. Ni hao. Yes.
Nice to meet you. Yeah. So let's jump into this because, I mean, inspections are a crucial thing. If anybody has dealt with, not even just China, anywhere in the world ordering something from factories, one of the things that's crucial is before those products ship, or even sometimes as they're during the process of being made, you want to have an inspection done to kind of check on the quality of this. Now, inspections, there's a lot of different varieties of types of inspections, and Elson's going to go over those with us. But Elson, why don't you just kind of kick off with, how important are inspections? I know that's a big question, but how important are Amazon sellers to have inspections?
Okay, thank you. So yes, as you just mentioned, inspection is really the key process for the whole Amazon selling process. Because as you know, the Amazon selling competition is more and more tough. So it requires a better and higher level of quality besides a better service or a much more better design. So suppose Amazon sellers, their products without a very good and stable quality, then just with unique products, then it cannot be a very long-lasting and successful business. So we have more and more Amazon sellers. They are coming with us, ask for inspection for their goods. Sometimes they ask for just one single inspection. Sometimes they will skip the inspections. But finally, they will ask for more and more frequently inspection, even the full quantity inspection, because they want every unit of their product to be checked. Make sure every product selling on Amazon is perfect without any bad reviews or bad comments. Yes, inspection is really important.
That is important. And Elson, one thing I want to mention, when I was selling online for a lot of years, we would even sometimes, before we would actually commit to a factory to buy, because if we're going to give a factory a lot of money to make a lot of products for us, we actually used to have inspectors go look at the factory for us and kind of inspect the factory first to see what is the quality of the factory, how many people do they have, how's the machinery, how old is it, which, some of those things it doesn't matter necessarily, depends on the product you're making. But, that was something we would do even before we would start writing a check or, sending money over to have an inspection. But what is kind of, why don't you kind of guide us through, somebody who's like a new Amazon seller and they're getting an inspection for the first time. What kind of questions should they be asking in an inspection company, if they're just not super familiar with getting an inspection on their product?
Okay, this is the really good questions. So for new Amazon sellers, they always need to ask for a very trustworthy and credited inspection company to help them to have a better understand about their new suppliers. So I think the number one questions for the new Amazon sellers should be asked is how many years you have done for the inspection. So like us, we have done the inspection for 15 years already. And the next thing is have you ever inspected such kind of the products like my products? That means the inspection company should have the related experience and checklist and test about such kind of products. So I think this is the two most important questions for a new Amazon seller should be asking.
Yeah, I like that point of have you inspected a product like mine before? Because if somebody's selling a women's clothing item versus a child's toy, that's going to
Right.
require very different. it- There's different wear and tear with the product once the consumer gets it. So there's different quality checklists that they need to hit. When an Amazon seller is coming to an inspection company for a quality inspection, is it generally the inspection company that sets the parameters of what they're looking for, or does the Amazon seller have to give input as well as to say, hey, conduct your usual, but we need to be sure that points A, B, and C like do not falter?
Well, I think this question will be very helpful for the Amazon sellers, especially for the new Amazon sellers. Right. We can see many of the Amazon sellers, they lack of such kind of knowledge about uh, what the standard should be followed and what kind of testing should be followed. And even when they sign a contract with the factory, they maybe not have a quality clause. So yes, if the Amazon seller is just new, just the start, just the beginner, then for the products, you have to learn as much information as possible. But it's okay, we are there. So every large categories or most of the products we have checked before. So every product we have the checklist and the testing over there for clients to know. So when a new client coming, so we just give them the list with options of the sampling sites to be chosen. But every order is customized. So every client will have the own requirements. We will have a Zoom meeting for every new client to have a face-to-face discussion to ask them their special requirements and to teach them what test should be followed and ask them if they have special requirements to us. So every new client, they will be trained and we will ask them with questions to let us better understand about the products. So finally, the check will be include our standard checklist with customers' special requirements together, and finally to perform the inspection with a very detailed inspection report to be provided. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And Elson, I know you're in Shenzhen, but there's always a question of, and if people aren't familiar with this, a lot of times certain products are made in certain areas of China. And, for instance, Shenzhen has a lot of electronic products. But if you go up to like Ningbo, there's a lot of LED type products up there. And even up above that is like textile. So knowing that, if I came to you looking for an inspection, let's say out of Ningbo on LED products, is there a specific company I should go to that handles one particular region? Or if I come to you, do you have enough staff that handles all the different regions of different products being made?
Right. So when you mention this, so I can understand that you are very familiar with China and the China production. Yes. So different cities in China will have their very famous and their production base. So suppose the Shenzhen is very famous for the electronics and Ningbo for the LED products, or Zibo is very famous for the glassware products, something. So when Amazon sellers, they are looking for some special products, firstly, they need to find out which city is their production base city. So they will have the full competition suppliers there with experienced workers can guarantee a good quality for production, and they have a very competitive price there. So we always arrange our local inspectors who are familiar with this product to go for the inspection. Yes.
That's great. That's great. And then, Elson, why don't you kind of just walk us through a typical inspection and what's involved? Basically, if I'm a seller, I reach out to you, and happens to be a factory you deal with or that you're close to, and you'll do an inspection for that product. What is kind of the steps that you'd go through to get all the way to the end for me when I request an inspection?
Okay, so we can name it as the inspection process or order process, right? So clients firstly need to go our website to submit a booking with their order information. So we will provide the inspection plan and the checklist with the quotation for clients. Once clients confirm the inspection plan, then inspector will go with the factory to do the inspection at the scheduled inspection date. So the inspection process will be included or involved will be included. Firstly, to let clients have a basic idea about their factory. So this is a trading company or a manufacturer, to let them know, firstly, the factory's information. Then we will get the number two most important will be the product's status, the order status. Is full finished production and packed, or underpacking or underproducing, and with the related quantity or related percentage of each status. So this is the number two most important we need to provide it. Then we will do the inspection based on the plan, like how many samples should be taken randomly. I want to emphasize the randomly. That means not just take one carton or two cartons for inspection, but take samples randomly from the whole lot of the goods, and make sure the samples can represent the average quality of the whole lot. After the samples will be taken, so we will provide and do the testing, include the carton information like the shipping mark, FBA stickers, and the size and weight of the carton, and the strength of the carton to make the dropping testing or loading testing to the carton. After this carton information finished, the next thing will be do the individual products inspection, from the boxes, the product's outlook, appearance, finishing, and we will do the size and weight of the products. And the following will be the test. Suppose your product is an LED lamp. So we need to do the appliance check, means actual using testing to make it can be works fine. This is first important thing. We works as an user to use this lamp to a lamp, make sure it can work fine. Then the testing will be included, like the voltage, the power, the consumption, and the life aging testing, and the color comparison, and the package strengthen, protection the lamps well, and do the dropping testing, as well as the FBA stickers or product's EAN or UPC barcode scanning testing. So those will be the tests that should be content on each inspection.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. I was gonna say, let's just take a quick break, and then I'll cue Rob up for a question that I know he wants to ask. I'm not gonna steal it from him, so you guys will be right back in just a second.
Today's episode is brought to you by Getida, the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements. Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at Getida.com/Sellernomics.
All right, you guys be sure to head over to getida.com/Sellernomics for the first 400 in FBA reimbursements free. We are back with Elson with BD Inspection, talking about the importance of inspections and how that's going to impact your product quality. Rob, let's talk about bribery.
Yeah. So one of the things when I've been to over 100 factories in China when I was selling and sourcing also, and one of the things that was brought up is sometimes there was a question or a kind of a myth of whether inspection companies were colluding with some of these factories and kind of bribing the inspector when they came out. Elson, could you address that? Is there any sort of bribery going on when it comes to an inspector going out? Is a factory paying them to make sure that it or maybe giving them lunch or something, to kind of help with approving the inspection to make sure it goes through? What you've probably heard about this also.
Right. This is the question that never can overlap to be skipped. So many clients will have this worrying about it. Yes, like every government will have bribery. So each inspection company will always have to face this bribery question and problems. So I want to ask to think about why there is a bribery for the inspection. So we think the reason is because the inspector, they go outside for inspection in factory, which is out of the supervisor by their company's officers. So they can make some deals when we are not there. So this is the problem. And like us, many years ago, we met these problems is more seriously than right now, but we have a much better and just a few cases in the last year. Like last year, we maybe have 2 cases happened because we have such a large volume inspection. Like each year, we have like 20,000 inspections every year. So
wow.
Yeah. So how to stop the bribery to be happened? We have our rules. Rule number 1, our inspectors are full-time inspectors. We pay them salary month by month. So the inspectors need to take the full and whole lifetime of the responsibility to this order quality. So if this quality of this order, which inspected by this inspector, have any issues or problems, he will not get the rewards, commission. And if have serious problems, then we will be involved to be investigated if there is have any bribery happened. So it's very costly for the inspector to take bribery because the risk is for him will be fired directly, cannot get the whole year's awards, and maybe the monthly salaries. This is the first thing. Secondly, we have an inspections alliance. We have 15 inspection companies aligned together as a group. So any inspector who broken this red line and take bribery and founder, he or she will be blacklisted and will be never used by these inspection companies anymore. So he will be blocked from the whole industry of inspection. And the third thing we do is we have a form that need to show to the factory before we do the inspection and need them to sign nature that cannot bribery to our inspectors. So it can stop the inspectors asking for bribery. Okay, and the next thing we do will be we randomly have our supervisor to visit these factories by surprising without our inspectors knows, and to check if there have any things happened or make sure it goes smoothly. And so with those steps or measures, we can well control the bribery happens. But we are very happy to tell all Amazon sellers that the briberies happen is less and less. The reason is because like the Amazon selling is much more competition tough. The China suppliers factories also facing very tough competition for the suppliers each other, because we are facing less orders, lower cost, lower profit margin, and required a higher quality level. So it's pushed the suppliers to provide a higher quality of products. So suppose you are a factory and your product quality is good. Do you think you need to bribery to anybody? I don't think so. And for the factory right now, China, especially for the Chinese suppliers, they really have very low margin or very low profit for them to bribery somebody. So they will focus on the quality and maintain a good relationship that can be lasting for long cooperation with the customer, but not a one-time business, right?
Yeah. And Lisa, a lot of this, I think, goes back to a lot of the factories used to say, hey, we have our own in-house inspector, right? Or, hey, we'll hire the inspector for you, and they'll give you a report, but they're like literally just using somebody in their warehouse to go and look at your products and basically say, yeah, it works great, take a couple photos and fill out a checklist. I think that's kind of where that started. But definitely that's a transition and away from that. And a lot of sellers, kind of caught on to that. And we're like, no, I'm going to use a third party inspector to come in. So,
because when we're talking about bribery, it less so occurred to me that it would be like a seller hiring a third party, that inspector going to a factory and then being, paid off at the spot. Well, how I anticipated it would happen would be kind of what you were saying, Rob, is I do some research, I find, or maybe no research, I don't know, I've heard about some seller stories, but you find your supplier nonetheless, you go there and they say, oh, we have a great inspection company, and that could just be their brother, their cousin, their friend that they're feeding to give a false report. That would be my immediate concern, is which it shouldn't be, right? If your vendor is making a recommendation, you would hope that it's to another reputable vendor. But that's where I kind of felt that the bribery would come into play.
Yeah, for sure. And then Elsa, what about when inspections fail? What is the process when an inspector goes in there and they're checking on certain items or features and it fails? What is the process that the seller goes through when that happens?
So once the inspection is failed, and it's always happened, sometimes it's failed, sometimes it's have big issues or large percentage of the quality with different issues. So clients have the final decision to accept or reject the goods besides the inspections report. Clients have the final decision. So once the goods is failed, I think we always give the suggestion on the report to factory and to clients with our suggestions. We always suggest factories and the clients to rework to those defectives, or by replacing or fixing or repair it. And clients can ask for a new re-inspection with us to check again after the factory finished their rework. So suppose the first inspection cost is paid by Amazon sellers, the clients. So I think the re-inspection cost should be paid by the factory side. Maybe some clients they will think a re-inspection is not necessary because the factory may be said to them, they already fixed the problems and you just can let it go, or they just want to catch the shipping agenda and cannot have time to make for a re-inspection. But we suggest a re-inspection is always very important. So because factory maybe not fix it, or maybe it's bring a new problem during the re-inspection, during the rework on the products.
Mm-hmm.
So here I give you the clue is the reinspection cost should be paid by the factory. So the client cannot need to be paid, but it's not um, the rule. It's needed clients to discuss and negotiate with buyer, with client, with factories when they are signed contract. So they will be have quality return or clause to be added on the contract when start the production. Yeah.
Great note there. And then when does a seller pay for an inspection report for the initial? So assuming it passes and everything, do you pay for the inspection ahead of time or upon completion?
Yeah. Inspection cost is a small money, and so it's always need clients to be paid before inspection, full payment before inspection.
Okay. What does an inspection usually cost?
So just back to the former question that for our regularly long-term corporation clients, we also can have the monthly payments for our regular clients. And inspection cost, generally, our standard price will be very small amount, 238 per man per day. But as we agreed to give the special price for all the Amazon sellers from Getida will get a discount. We will give the discounted price for all the Amazon sellers from Getida. That is $205 per man per day. 205. Yes.
That's a good price. That's a good price.
Yeah,
very
you.
cool.
Thank
So
you.
yeah,
Yes.
when you reach out to BD Inspections, be sure to mention Getida. But I do want to ask you a little bit about, when it comes to these inspections, we talked the whole process through. We talked about if they fail and everything. But what about at the very end? They have this pre-inspection, they have this final inspection, and then I wanted to just kind of mention, this was a really cool thing I heard you say about the box quality, the quality of the box. I think this is something important that people need to pay attention to, that when you have your inspector going out, remember that there's the kind of outer carton and there's the inner carton of all the different products. They're going to most likely, Amazon's going to ship that inner carton. And depending on the thickness of the wall, of course, it depends what you're selling. But if it's a fragile item, you got to make sure that that cardboard's thicker. Now, it might cost you a little more money because of weight and dimensions, but I loved how Elson mentioned that, you guys check the drop test. There's a lot of different features you're checking on this, and that's super cool. That's a really cool thing. So I would like to pivot a little bit more to BD inspection. I know we've been talking about inspections the whole time here, and I'm sure people have questions, and be sure to ask those questions in the, in the comment section below. But, why don't you tell us, Elson, a little bit about BD inspections? You already said you guys have been around 15 years, do 20,000 inspections a year. But what else, what kind of different inspection services do you guys offer?
Thank you. Yeah. So a little bit introduce about BD inspection. So I am the founder and the CEO of BD inspection, and we started our inspection service since 2008. So it's 15 years inspection experiences. And we have, with this 15 years developing, we have a very professional and strong inspection team with about 80 inspectors, which are located in different industry cities like China, India, Pakistan, Vietnam, and Bangladesh. So those Southeast Asia countries will also have our inspection service kept to be covered. And we provided the service from sourcing, inspection, and FBA shipping. But our core service will be inspection services. And inspection services will be have mainly 4 services. Like first will be the factory audit, means a new supplier that an Amazon seller never ordered and never met them before. So it's needed to audit this supplier if they are um, real or fraud company, or if they are trading company or manufacturer, how many workers they have, and if they have the related production ability, quality control system, and how many production equipment they have. So this will be named as factory audits. Is always performed before the placing order and pay the deposit money. And the second service will be the quality inspection. That means when clients ordered with a factory and the production is on the process, so we can arrange inspectors to check the initial production or during production inspection, or finally before inspection, before shipping inspection. And finally will be the container loading supervision. So they have some clients that they ship the goods order by order, container by container, and they want to make sure the whole container will be loaded with correct product, right quantity, and make sure every unit to be loaded and sealed and shipped. So this will be the container loading supervision. And finally will be the FBA shipping services. So we provide the one-stop service for sourcing, inspection, as well as FBA shipping services. But our core services will be the inspection services, right?
Amazing. Yeah. A full service, all-encompassing solution you have there, Elson. And where can folks go to learn more about BD Inspection and reach out to you if they have any questions?
Yes. Do you have any questions, Rob?
No, I was actually... No, it's okay. Actually, Lisa, I have this crazy idea I just came up with, though, that I don't think too many sellers are doing. And Elson probably, I mean, think about this. Elson's company has 15 years of experience. They're doing 20,000, inspections a year. Gosh, everybody gets on Alibaba to start sourcing products and looking at all these factories and talking to them. And you narrow it down sometimes based on price, but you're not necessarily narrowing it down on quality. And like Elson said, quality is such a big thing now. If I came up with an idea, let's say, I was like, oh my gosh, I have this great idea for a LED lamp. I would go to Elson and be like, hey, which factories have you inspected that have this great quality? And could you give me the information contact for them? And almost like use him as a source and say, hey, by the way, by you helping me get to this factory, also help you by, having you do the inspections. But I mean, he's seen all these factories. He knows which ones are good, which ones have passed, which ones have failed. I mean, I almost see, Elson as a sourcing also, but I would obviously use them for also doing my testing. So Elson, that's you did mention sourcing, and I would definitely, make a guarantee to you if I was buying from a factory and you put me in touch, I would use you as the person to do the inspection. But what Lisa's trying to say is, what website can people go to get more information about you guys?
Yes, thank you. Yes. Our official website is www.inspection.com.cn. So this is our official website. Clients can go there, get inspection information, and submit a booking from there. But for our regular clients, they can contact with our sales directly to placing orders.
Perfect.
And what email is that? Yeah.
And our official email will be info@inspection.com.cn. Yes, this is also our PayPal account for clients to pay, right?
Gotcha. Perfect. And again, you guys, that's inspection.com.cn. The email address is info@inspection.com.cn. Elson, thank you so much for your time today. Yeah, Rob, I mean, it does seem like a smart, I don't know if it would be reverse engineer necessarily, but a natural starting point to say, okay, who's going to give me the best quality product? Because if you are shopping factories by price, cheapest is not necessarily least expensive, right? At the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So yeah, great point there. But Elson, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and spending this time with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Actually, I I have many information to be shared, and it's really nice to talk with you. And I want to have more chances to sharing more information to Amazon sellers, and welcome Amazon sellers to contact with us about sourcing, inspection, even FBA shipping services. But if about the reimbursement, so please go to with Getida. Getida is great. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for that.
Shay.
And thank you so much for everybody who tuned in today. If you guys liked what you heard, please be sure to give us a thumbs up, share your thoughts with us in the comments, subscribe to the show, and we will see you on the next one.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Sellernomics podcast. Special thanks to our sponsor, Getida. Did you know that Amazon probably owes you money for FBA reimbursements? Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at Getida.com/Sellernomics. Be sure to join us again next week for more great tips on how to grow your business. And thanks again for listening.